Good evening and welcome to Mancunian Way. I hope we're all well. I do apologise, a bit late. I was just double checking who was coming on panel wise. Let me just put my phone on silent and then we'll crack on because I've just had to reset my phone as well, which is not always the best. But I hope we are all well. Welcome to the channel. It's Thursday evening. Now we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We're going to hand the reins to you, the Mancunian Way family. We can talk about whatever you want, as long as you're respectful, as long as you are, respect your channel. No swearing, nothing offensive, nothing, because remember, we'll shut the channel down. That's the admin done out of the way. But all you have to do is come on and chat Manchester City, shoot it about anything you want. Let me just close some of these so I get a better bandwidth. I'm getting really dodginess coming up and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it a lot. Right, there we go. Super. So yeah, what it is, we are going to have myself, Carl, Pat's going to come and join. We'll be the panel. Come and join us. 10, 15 minutes, only 5 minutes, whatever. You don't even have to be on camera. It can just be your voice and just talk to us. That's all we want to know. Because we want to know about the transfer. Because obviously there's been news today from Sam Lee and a couple of other journalists, Manchester City related, that once Gvardiol is in, unless Bernardo Silva, let me just, is my audio out of sync for everyone? Let me know if my audio, it might be my internet. Let me know and I'll have to reset my internet back. I'm on, let me just switch my bandwidth. 5G, I need to be on the 2. You can still hear me, I'm back. The reason why I wanted to be on 2.4 was because my router's downstairs and the 2.4 is good for when you're in different rooms. So anyway, that should be better now, Ethan. Thank you very much. Right, so what we're going to do is we are exactly what's going on with the Saudi League. If people want to talk about that, come and have a chat. Brought Cal from Pitch Points on. Pat's going to come on, hopefully later. And we may rotate. People might come in and out. So this show will go for as long as you want it to go tonight. All I ask is smash the likes. Come and join us. If you scroll to the top of the comments, there's a pinned comment where is the StreamYard link is there. Click on that. Join in. We may not bring you in straight away. There may be a queue, but we will bring you up 100%. Give us your name or type your name in so we know what to call you. And yeah, then we'll get going. But we'll chat transfers, we'll chat Saudi Arabian, because that's a little bit of a worry for me. Concern not for others, happy for others. I want to get a debate going. Are you happy with just Kovacic and Gvardiol? Is that enough? Or are we preying on everything being good? These are all questions we want to know. Are you not bothered if Mahrez goes and McAtee comes in? Are you not bothered if we don't win a trophy? All good questions. So let's bring in Carl. How are you, mate? Good evening, afternoon.
Good evening, Martin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and proud, mate.
Yeah. I got this new, old mic that I brought back from the dead. Good to see you, mate.
9320 Pubcast. Thank you for becoming a channel member.
We were together for an hour earlier on today on Beta's channel. So, Blues out there. This is how we roll, Blues. We hop around each other's channels. We support each other, do what we can for each other. This is how it rolls. And Martin is the godfather of it. So glad to be here, mate.
So I'll open it. What do you want to chat about? Transfers, Saudi League?
Where do we start, mate? Saudi Arabia, the effect of Saudi Arabia, what's going on? I mean, disruption. Pick one, man. I'm here.
Well, Lorenzo's just joined us. Lorenzo, I'm going to bring you in 1 minute, mate. In fact, we'll bring Lorenzo in now, and he can decide. Because I don't know if you know, Carl, I've opened the phone lines to the subscribers rather than
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But let's get the actual Mancunian way subscribers.
I thought, while Lorenzo joined, I thought our conversation around the Saudi Arabia thing was intriguing, Martin. I think that there are things that we talked about that nobody's really talked about, and we may want to explore that just a bit more.
Well, I think I know what Lorenzo wants to talk about, Carl. Before I bring Lorenzo in, this is his comment from earlier. Guys, to be honest, I'm a worried City fan. Why do most of my core players want to leave City? Especially the best team in the world right now. So I think it'd be a good time to bring him in and ask him what's worrying him and who does he mean by best players?
Yeah, sure.
That could be a very subjective topic as well, you know.
Yeah.
So, Lorenzo, good evening. Can you hear us?
Yeah, boys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lorenzo. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. I'm actually calling in from Cape Town, South Africa. So yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to find out, guys, man. Like, this is kind of weird for me, right? All our best players like Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan already left us. Riyad Mahrez is probably on his way out, and then there's Kyle Walker as well. Cancelo is another one. So why do all the players, in my opinion, our core players wanting to leave Man City at the moment? It's kind of weird for me because we are the best team in the world right now. So why do they want to leave us? You know, I think players like those type of players should stay at Man City because we already won everything. So why don't they want? Why do they want to leave us at this stage of? I mean, we are the best team in the world right now. So why do they want to leave us? It's just kind of weird for me.
Well, I mean, first of all, welcome, Lorenzo. So nobody's left yet, right? I mean, that's the truth, right? Only Gundogan is left at this point in time. I mean, Gundogan is 32, right? He wanted 2 years. We gave him one. He said no. And he went to Barcelona. That's his next evolution, which is fine. The player wants to leave, and they're at the end of the cycle. Let them go. Let them go explore. The Walker situation, we'll see what happens. But this is what Guardiola does, right? For me, it's about, when you win the treble, you can't. I don't think you can win it again or do as well as you can unless you refresh the squad. There has to be new injection, new life. Pep likes to teach new players and get them to buy into the philosophy and go again. You need new energy and new blood to get to that next level. Sometimes the players that you have, think about David Silva, Vincent Kompany, Fernandinho, all these guys couldn't get us to the UCL. The only person who was left in that whole squad was Kevin De Bruyne. Everybody else around him knew Erling Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Rodri. All these guys are all fresh and new who got us to the next level. Sometimes, like Sir Alex used to do, he would always refresh the squad at its peak to go again. So I'm not too worried about it. I think as long as we have a plan and we get good replacements and we keep the manager and institution, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Abdallah, I do see you backstage. We'll bring you up in a minute, but just remain patient if you are backstage. I didn't want to bring you up one at a time so you get your fair crack. I mean, I do understand you worry, Lorenzo. I think João Cancelo, I'm presuming you're a Cancelo fan with what, we're naming him.
Yes.
I think Cancelo's probably the most obvious one because of what happened off the field. I don't think you can go and attack your own manager on the training ground and get away with it. We couldn't do it in our jobs or in our businesses. We couldn't go around and threaten our guys. It wouldn't fly. Plus, I think if you notice, we did change our style of play as well. And the overlapping fullbacks was kind of not the way forward anymore. We've gone to this more subdued but more effective, patient attacking build-up with this 3-2-2-3, which gave us that extra manage to the midfield, which counter-attacked a lot of the way teams were setting up against us, really. And I think João Cancelo, sadly, I mean, take Nathan Ake, for example, Lorenzo. Nathan Ake wasn't in the team. He wasn't really playing on the regular. There was links of him going to Chelsea. And instead of having a sulk, he turned around, got his head down and fought for his place. Said to the manager, I'm going to show you everything in training. Cancelo didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that at Bayern Munich either, which is sad. You know, that's him. So I think that's the Cancelo one. The Gundogan one was just 32, 33 approaching. Won everything he'd done at City. Was captain. What a way to go out. And we've also got to remember, these are not Mancunian lads. They're not Manchester City fans. It is a job to some of these players. And the law of, even though Barcelona are still in a financial mess, which they are still quite a law with a lot of foreign clubs. To wear that Barcelona, that Catalonian badge on your or the Real Madrid badge, is still quite an honour. Something they dream of as a child. For example, Phil Foden would have grown up dreaming of wearing the Manchester City badge. Gundogan wouldn't have done that. So I would say I understand your concerns. I wouldn't worry too much because we lost David Silva, Yaya Toure, Sergio Aguero, Vincent Kompany, Pablo Zabaleta, and we actually got better. So, I mean, so for me, that was what I would say. I mean, what do you think about that, Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Is it something you're still concerned about, or do you think, you know what, as long as we refresh, maybe I'm all right with it?
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. Refreshing is always good. I mean, especially if we win the treble. You know, we won the treble, so it's all about motivation at the end of the day as well. So I think Gundogan, especially, I think he's 32 years old. He won the treble, so he maybe wanted to change. Maybe wanted to go to the warm weathers of Spain. I mean, it's always nice. But as I said, now if you look at Arsenal, for example, right? Last season they were probably our biggest rivals, right? Look at the business they've done so far. I saw now yesterday as well. They also linked with Gabi Veiga. No, a guy we also linked with. So they are they are going for gun players, right? They already have Declan Rice. Well, I don't rate Declan Rice. I don't rate Declan Rice that highly, to be honest with you. I think we only if we wanted Declan Rice, we would have got it, right? We're the best team in the world. We have the money for him, but he actually wanted to go to Arsenal. So I think that's why we didn't bid aggressively for him. But for me, my concern is, right, if we lose, we already lost Gundogan. If we lose Bernardo Silva, if we lose Kyle Walker, I think Kyle Walker, for me, right, he's a gun player. He's quick, he's reliable. Yes, he have a few injury concerns, but he's a good player for me, right? So if you lose a player like him, who are we gonna replace him with?
So I think the presumption here is that, you know, in a vacuum, that if we lose all these players, somehow we're not going to have anybody, and the board and Pep will not replace them with anybody. I would.
No. Yeah. But that's not what I'm saying, right? So I know we have a fantastic board, right? But guys, the board can also be wrong. The coach can also be wrong. How many times did Pep Guardiola overthink things? Like the Champions League final against Chelsea was the perfect example. Overthinking things. I know Pep Guardiola is someone. Yeah, but I know Pep Guardiola is someone that if you want to leave, you can leave the club, right? But who's to say the guys we're getting, the guys we're going to recruit in the future is going to work?
Let me play the other side for you, right? This is the club that you're talking about that's won 5 of the last 6 Premier Leagues, won 3 FA Cups.
Yes, I understand.
4 Carabao Cups, and won a Champions League. And somehow we think that they cannot make a mistake because they're not human. They're human. But they've proven to us over time and time and time that they get it right. Not just at Man City, at Barcelona too. Only one manager in world football with the same board and friends have won 2 trebles in 2 different countries. and they're right now with us. That's a fact. So while, yes, we can be worried, I believe that they've earned our trust to say, you know what? Let's see what happens come August 31st. If nothing happens, we can have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've seen so far, where we go.
I mean, think about it this way, Lorenzo. Currently, at the moment, if we're going to add Gavardio, let's say we're going to add Gavardio, that will give us, for the moment, obviously there's been no exits, 2, 4, 6, 8. It would give us 11 defenders.
Yeah.
Now, there's only 4 places. So, for example, there will be some departures because there's only 4 places and 11 players. They're not all going to fit in. And not only that, you're going to have the squad unrest as well, which may not be too good either. I don't think. So all I would say is, because I do thank you for calling in, Lorenzo, but we are going to move on to Abdallah in a moment. All I would say is, I would seriously just, I understand it's frustrating. It is. Because you're probably looking at it, we're treble winners. Why are we not buying? Why are we not going again?
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think all we've got to ask for is that little bit of patience. You know, say if there's nothing available that's correct for them, they won't just buy. All maybe next season is an off season. Maybe it's not. Maybe we go and we defend the title again. But if it's an off season, we'll just go again next year. So it's okay. We're not going to win the league for the next 10 years running. That's just impossible. All I would say is enjoy it. Stand behind the club, as I know you will, and treasure this moment. And you know what? We may get a big shock. We may see McAtee come in and be brilliant. We may see a great youngster come in and be great. We may see a player we didn't expect just arrive. The Gabby Vega thing, I don't think was ever a goer because he's had the release clause for 7 months, and I think we would have activated it by now. Yeah. City don't panic. Don't panic. So all I'd say is relax. I know what you're saying, but we're only allowed 25 players as well.
Yeah.
Apart from youngsters.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, guys.
Yeah,
I just want to say thank you, guys. I love your channel and you guys. We have a big following here for you guys here in Cape Town. So thank you for keep up with the good work.
Thank you. Stay safe in South Africa, mate.
Enjoy.
Thank you for the support.
Thanks, mate.
So there you go. That was Lorenzo there who's joined us. Like I said, if you want to come and join us, we are going to bring in Abdallah is backstage. I am going to bring in the usual crew. Hello. From Abdallah, you're going to be against the full panel, mate, just to warn you down there backstage. I am only going to bring people in one at a time. But like I said, you may have concerns like, oh, I like that.
Is Happy Clapper still in Peru? Are you still in Peru? Or you moved?
Yeah, apologies, I'm late, guys. I was too busy sobering up.
I want to know if Happy Clapper's sober.
Is he?
I told you, that's why I was late. I need a few minutes to sober up.
Yeah, that's close to the camera. No, mine, not yours. Maybe coming very soon. Leave it with us.
That's very nice. Alan.
Yeah, hi, mate. How are you?
Long time, too long.
Is it too long? I sent you a few messages on LinkedIn about having a chat, but you just didn't see it.
I haven't checked LinkedIn in a long time.
Who the frig uses LinkedIn? Is it just old men like you?
Businessmen, mate. Businessmen.
I'll take a look.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Daniel's not frustrated. McAtee will cut next season. They are music to Alan's ears.
Yeah,
City have always done their business.
I really hope he does well. I really hope he does well and plays.
I do get what you're saying, mate. Why now? Evening, Andy, by the way, and Happy Clapper. By the way, your P45's in the post. Did you get it?
Mine?
No, Happy Clapper.
What did I get in the post?
P45.
What the bloody hell's a P45?
basically you sack.
When you get sacked, you get that as your as you got to take with you to pass on to the next company. So it's also your national insurance and your pay and tax and shit.
I forgot.
righto.
I forgot he's Australian. Like,
Yeah. I've had a knock on the door from the tax man. That's why I'm in another country.
all right, Mancunian.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Abdallah in because, like I said, it is a calling show. If Abdallah might want to ask a question to all of you, Abdallah's been on before, so I know who Abdallah is. So, good evening, Abdallah.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, Martin, Andy, everyone else. Alan, the Don, how are you?
I'm here. How are you? Did you wait? Call me then. The Don.
See you, mate.
Carl. I know Carl for many years now, so yeah.
And you said hello to Boulder.
Hey, in the flesh.
No, Andy's a legend. Andy's a legend. He doesn't shut. No, he respects everyone's opinion. But yeah,
is he on the phone? He's got on a phone call. Right, Abdallah, fire away, mate, with your questions.
I think there's a lack of preparation. Maybe it's just me being pessimistic. I am. You should know. You guys know that by now. But
Abdallah, just calm down.
I think there's a lack of preparation.
Hang on, Alan.
For me, if there's no offers for Bernardo, he's not leaving. I generally think it's criminal if we let him go for anything less for £70 million. Any other player with 2 years left on his contract, he would be going on for more. 2 years left on his contract will go from Basmati Rice went for what? 1 year left on his contract and he went for 100 million. Bernardo's 10 times the man 10 times the player he is. So I don't know what's the excuse. If we don't get the asking price, don't let him go. Simple as. And we don't get a substantial offer. I trust our board. However, the only time I don't trust our board is when dealing with Barcelona. That's the only time I don't trust our board. That's the only time I don't trust our board, because Cheeky has a soft spot for Barcelona, and I just don't. I think they shouldn't be in the room when dealing with Barcelona. No offense, but dealing with everyone else, I have no issue. But we can't sell them for. I don't think we can sell Bernardo for cheap. It's simple. It's not that hard. Unless he puts in a transfer. If he so badly wants to leave, put in a transfer request.
He won't know, pal, because he likes that.
If he doesn't, then that's fine. He needs to shut up and get on with his work. And I think he's done that for the past 6 years. So clearly PSG, and I'm saying this as an Arab, and I've seen this as personally, Arabs are cheap. No matter how you see it with how they with the a certain Saudi club, the amount of money that they have, they're putting down 35 million. Are you ridiculous for Riyad Mahrez? He's not. I don't think we can get 50 million, 40 million minimum.
Abdallah, they're wanting to pay him for. They're wanting to pay him nearly the first. They're nearly wanting to pay him the first year's salary as much as they want to pay us in transfer fee.
I wouldn't let him go. I wouldn't let him go for minimum.
It's not. I can't justify.
I would let him go for 40 million minimum.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Are we forgetting something about Mahrez though? You know, by all he's done is come out in the media and said, "I want to stay at City." So from pure guess, I would say that it's more or less City saying, "Listen, off you pop." So if City are happy with that fee and they think it's it's a reasonable fee for Mahrez at his age and his contract status, it seems like Mahrez, regardless of how much, listen, Mahrez could go to no disrespect to the Saudi league.
Yeah.
Mahrez could go to the Saudi league in
player.
2 seasons and still perform. As Ronaldo is now.
There's a reason why I generally believe he won't go Saudi. He has a missus from Cheshire. She's one of her mother's from the Cheshire Housewives.
And his dad's also an ex-City player.
I have no the lifestyle that she lives. Saudi's not the place. It's a very let's say conservative place.
Very conservative.
So it makes no sense. And there was an there was an Arab outlet on Instagram. They said that she's against the move, So clearly he's not going to take his missus with a newborn baby across the world if she doesn't, and he's engaged to her. So I just find it very unlikely him leaving. I'll be surprised, but he goes with my blessing in my opinion, because
I just think that we should trust the board. We should trust Pep. I don't think, like a point what you made, I don't necessarily agree with what's Martin doing there, because it's business.
You said, trust the board, we'll be fine.
I think you have got to trust the board. When have they ever let us down?
Mangala.
There's a first time for everything.
Listen,
there's a first time for everything.
That was Alan's fault.
He
had a chat with Brian Marwood and got him in.
You couldn't see a Mangala coming in now, because the game, since we had Mangala, the game has changed massively. It really has. I just think for anyone not to trust the board, I just don't understand, because the track record is, listen, it's more, and I keep saying this with regarding to Bernardo. If Bernardo stays, say Bernardo, for instance, is worth 70 million now, with 2 years left on his deal. Well, I'd much rather get 30 million next season and forfeit 40 million.
Yeah, that's what I agree with. That's what I agree with. I would let him go.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree, because let's get Pittance, at least get another season out of him. He's a hard worker. He gets his head down. He's been getting his head down, because with him having, because the most toxic agent, Mendes, it's only him putting it out. If he's so desperate to leave, put out a transfer request. It's not that hard. If you're that desperate to leave.
Can I throw what Andy's just said there? Anyone jump in by all means. I'm going to do it respectfully. I understand what you're saying there about
I'll get off first.
We'll take 40 million, that's fine. Let me throw another example that has played that game. Different way. Laporte. We were all banging on 3 weeks ago. 50 million, 60 million, 70 million. Now reports are 25 to 30 million.
That would be criminal. I'm sorry, that's criminal.
Gone.
Sometimes you have to do that. Listen, Bernardo.
Someone's getting a car boot sale there, getting Laporte for 25 million.
No, I agree. I agree with Abdallah there. It would be criminal. However, it's not sought after like Bernardo is, and sometimes you've got to weigh the pros and cons, like what we're paying salary wise for him, which nobody knows what salary we're paying for him. So he might be a top earner. So you just weigh it up. Listen, if we keep him, we're still paying a huge salary and we're going to get pittance. Let's just get rid, because we're saving on the salary then, which Guardiola will probably be on par with Laporte, and you're getting a more elite.
And Andy, I wanted to put my sort of opinion about the whole Laporte situation at the moment, because we are sort of handcuffed with the transfer business regarding him, because there's not many clubs that can afford him. And then the ones that can afford him don't value him the same way we value him, which is pretty much the story of any sort of outgoing City player over the last 10 years. The thing with Laporte is what a lot of these teams are. They're sort of valuing him at the same price that we may value him for if we were to sell him in a year's time. Now, for me, if Gvardiol's coming in, that's 6 centre-backs. That's way too many. Someone's got to go. Laporte looks the most likely, as we all know, and we all pretty much agree on. I can't see any reason why we can't certainly look at one of these clubs that may be interested in possibly a loan deal for this year with an obligation to buy at your 30 million for the final season come next summer.
Apparently they're not keen on
Pat, just to add, what's the purpose of an agent then? Isn't the agent's purpose is to find to find suitable parties for him?
But it's also the player wanting to go because they want more game time, and if he doesn't go, that's six centre backs, and with John Stones obviously playing his hybrid role as the number 6, as alongside Rodri. It's just you got to find a balance between where does the player want to continue doing what he did last season, or does the agent have too much of a say in the best intentions of what the player wants to do?
Alan?
The Laporte situation is very simple. The reason why they've quoted a low fee for him is the same problem as Otamendi. We couldn't get him out the door 1 year because of the lad's wages. All right. So if they say, all right, he's worth 60 odd million, but we'll sell him for 30 for half. That 30 million that the club that buy have saved 30 million. We'll use that to pay his wages, so we don't have to pay his wages that he's on currently at the moment.
What's
How
Laporte's
much
wages at
is
the
on?
moment, Alan?
How much think he's on?
What's Laporte's wages at the moment?
That's what I was about to ask. Does anyone know what he's on?
Does anybody know what he's on? It's only speculation.
Because I think Akanji's on more than him. Akanji's
Some
on
of them you
108
do
grand.
know because some of them you do know.
I'll get it out. I'll get it out.
They have to go out on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
They have to go out on
Akanji's on 180, which I thought was quite a lot.
I've got it up here. You don't need to. I've got all the wages.
6 million. 6 million. 6
He's
million.
on 120 a week.
Is that all?
He's on 120. Wow.
All right.
Much.
Stop. Hang
That's
on.
not.
I know. I'm
That's not
saying
steep.
this.
That's double. That's half a
One
job.
of you.
Has anybody took anything else into consideration? Have they looked at Laporte and thought he's not got the heart for a fight? You know.
That's exactly it, Andy. So I read this article about why they want Guardiola. It's because the way we play, you have to be able to defend 1v1. Think about Ake and Salah. Think about Guardiola and how he defends 1v1. Think about Diaz and Stones. 1v1 defending a 3-box-3 is critical. Laporte is great on the ball, building up the play, spraying passes good. But 1v1, he's awful 1v1. Think about Leon. Think about Tottenham. 1v1, he struggles.
Carl, Nottingham Forest away, just a few months
There we
ago.
go.
He was terrible.
Exactly.
He was terrible.
Great. Right.
So that's the problem, is that if you're going to change your system, you have to have the right players who fit that system, who can play that system comfortably. Akanji, 1v1, very good.
Does Ray Fernley have a point here, though? We're making more money selling youth players than we are first teamers.
All counts has done it, mate.
Yeah, it does.
It does relieve the argument a bit. Yeah.
They let Shea Charles go.
When did Laporte join us? What year did he join us?
Summer
2018.
Sorry, January 2018.
Yeah,
January 2018.
2018, a 5-year contract, right?
Yeah, 5-year contract.
5.5.
So he's
5.5.
So he's fully amortized then, probably. On the books, Alan, which means that he's pure profit.
Yeah,
I think
if you let him go for cheaper, it's to get him out the door. Simple as that.
I agree, but I think as fans, this is the problem, and this is where I always say, as fans, we look at a player, and we're not judging Laporte as Laporte now. We're judging Laporte on what he did the back end of. It feels weird when I say last season, but I don't, because I still feel like
previous season.
You know what I mean? The previous season when he literally limped over the line with a painkilling injection for the last 10
Let's say the Villa game. Let's say the Villa game.
Dragged us to the title. That's the Laporte we're looking at. The thing is, though, that's not the Laporte we've got now.
Absolutely.
Money Ducks made a point. It's like a car. You look at a car, and everyone looks at a car and goes, I've got a vintage car here. It's amazing. It's worth about 100 grand. And then when you actually get to the brass tacks and go to the big blue book, it's worth about 5p. And you go, eh? And that's the problem. We're looking at it from a sentimental value. A buyer is not looking, a buyer is not asked about him what he did the last 10 games of the season for us. He's looking at him overall. So he's sat there now going, Pep, how's he been for the season? Been a bit of a misery guts. Not really done a lick in training. Yeah, kind of start putting everyone off. Because there is a thing, this recency bias is true. And the reason I use that, and I'm going to sound so harsh here, I'm going to use Gundogan as an example. Nobody in January was telling me about Clutch Gundogan or Gundogan being world class. We hit the back end of the season. Let's get a statue. you see what I mean? It's suddenly you all go down the recency bias and we all hit what we want to do. And I think this is the problem with Laporte. They're looking at him now.
Let me elaborate on that then. And you're absolutely right, mate. Laporte is an extra year down the line. He's not played any football. Now, could he actually regain? Potential clubs what are going to buy him will probably be looking. He's not really played much football. He's had quite a bit of injuries. He's not had the bottle to try and win his place back off Ake. Is that the and somebody put in the comments before? Apologies, I couldn't remember who it was. He's turned down moves for Spurs and stuff like that.
Spurs and Villa.
Now, are they money orientated because they're not offering much? And it's his prerogative because he sat on a contract. He signed a contract.
He wants to go back to Spain.
Hello, lads. Hello, lads. Did I see what I wanted to see then?
The problem with Spain is that he can only go to one club, right? Because it's Basque. That's Bilbao. Right? Which way is where he came from. Because he's Basque, and Basques do not play outside of Bilbao, he has to go back to Bilbao. Do they have the money to buy him? Probably.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, Carl. It's a case of it's okay. Laporte wanting to go back to Spain. There's only 2 clubs who could potentially afford him. Now,
Real Madrid, that's it.
Well, yeah, even you're quite right. Even say Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid or even Barcelona, if they had the funds and stuff like that, probably don't fancy Laporte. So it's like me. I want a Ferrari. Don't mean to say I'm going to get it.
Alan, read the private chat and tell me whether what I've just seen is real.
Oh yeah, mate. Seriously, I know what I've just seen there. Yes, he does have company. They obviously pulled last night, and well done, Pat.
At least he's got the video and microphone off. Hey, we signed up.
You see, that was
say hello.
Been busy last night. Yeah.
No, that was housekeeping, mate. They're gone.
Yeah, I bet she was. Yeah.
What I want to know is how much an hour and where from. Anyway, no, do you know? I mean, like Lorenzo, who was on 5 minutes ago, makes a great. This is my, and it's nothing against you, Lorenzo. The disrespect Laporte gets is ridiculous. 2 seasons ago, he's probably our best defender. Totally agree with you. But you're not buying Laporte 2 years ago. You're buying Laporte now.
And you can't have sentiment.
Not in business. Carl, you how many times have you said that?
It's a business, end of.
Sentiment and business don't mix.
It's completely non-existent in business.
I always remember. Do you remember the Burnley game in the FA Cup game?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was you there, Andy? Was you live?
I was there.
Was you there? Did anyone notice? I'm not sure we showed it on TV. Did you all notice Laporte's body language?
Yeah.
He looked so out of it. He was like, don't know what to do there.
And his social media, he's already given up.
Yeah. 3 months ago, he's posting thanks for the journey.
Yeah.
New beginnings and
Patrick, you dog.
I bet Laporte won't turn his camera off and his microphone off, though.
I mean, and the reality is, I mean, let's think about it. Right? The reality is, right, much as we love Laporte, what he's done, the reality is that in that final of the Champions League, think about that game, the pressure that they're under. You cannot play Laporte in that game. You just can't.
Especially how nervous and edgy they were first half. They weren't calm, were they, in the first half?
Yeah.
Abdallah, let me come to you, mate, because you're our guest. I'm gonna ask this to everyone tonight.
I got it. What's the names, Pat?
Alan, another time. Abdallah,
place, mate.
who's taking time out to come on as a guest. Quite easily make someone else a guest, take them off the panel. Anyway, I'm joking before I get comments of Martin's bullying and being rude. Anyway, Abdallah, if it was just Givardio and Kovacic, and Bernardo stayed, would you be happy?
Not really. I would say one more midfielder and I'll be happy, because I feel like, no offense, the club have kind of lied in terms of they inform the media, they inform their sources, the tier ones, your Jack Gorns, etc., etc. I don't know if it was Jack Gorn. I think it was either Jack Gorn or someone else. A tier one. They said they said they'll bring in the midfielder regardless if Kovacic signs. What I interpreted it as was Kovacic is just a depth/bench signing because he's injury prone and he's 29. He's a good signing, but he's not a great signing, no offense. So I would say one more midfielder.
Abdullah, what proof do you have that they brief these people? What if you're going to hold them accountable for a lie, what's the evidence you have for that?
Either they're just lying, or it's just that they get briefed. Otherwise, what's the point of their job? No offense.
Well, so this is the problem, right? We have in the Twitter world, right? Is that we assume that whatever an ITK says.
I'm not on Twitter. I left Twitter ages ago.
Right, or wherever we are, right? We assume that whatever they say, we say that whatever a journalist says is actually fact, when there are many interpretations of that. Which is why we say, let's be patient. We've been down this road before. We had no fullbacks in January. We were screaming blue murder. We win the treble. All right. We lose Leroy Sané. We win the league. We lose Aguero. We win the league in the false nine position. Let's be patient. Let's wait and see what happens. And more than likely, we'll be challenging again when it comes to next year, June. That's what I'm saying. Let's learn from the past.
I would say
this is what
because they all knew about Haaland, they all knew about Kovacic, and do you know the only time I know clubs brief is, for example, we have a Laporte now who's not really moving, so it's a bit of a slow market. So what the club will do is they'll brief something to a journalist, a trust, bang bang bang, out it goes, and it's like that, a little bit of fuel on a fire when you need something to go. There's just no movement. You'll start I bet any money in about a week. Everyone's just going off camera here. You're all in a hotel room in here. What's going on here?
Hang on, are you with Pat there or what, mate?
Do you know what I mean, Carl? A lot of it is, say Cancelo isn't moving in a week, you'll see a story start getting leaked by everyone. That's come from the club to leak somebody, because what they do is they leak it.
Martin,
it's to get it rolling.
I would do whatever it takes to get rid of Cancelo. I would do whatever it takes, even getting rid of him for 10 million.
Trouble is with Cancelo,
he is a
nobody's
Cancelo is the only except. This is where I know people probably say I'm a hypocrite when it comes to saying with Bernardo and with Cancelo. Cancelo, the problem is he's a cancerous individual. He's a problem. He's a huge problem. Yeah. If he's anywhere near the club or even the training ground, he will. He's like a plague.
But what do you do? No one's willing to pay money for him.
Does
anyone know how much money Cancelo's on?
Keep loaning him. Keep loaning him, in my opinion.
Cancelo's on $250,000 a week.
Jeez.
He's got a 4-year deal left.
Jeez.
That's an albatross on the contract.
If you remember, he just signed an extension about a year or a bit less when he had his bust up.
I mean,
Martin,
how bad it is, Abdullah, with the Cancelo, right? Man City loaned out Cancelo to Bayern Munich and didn't demand a loan fee. Think about that, right? It was so bad that they loaned him out and said, Bayern Munich, we don't need a loan fee, just get him off us. Take him away. We'll pay half his wages, you pay half. He's not coming back. They're going to find a solution for him.
Andy just has to drop. Go and give 9320 podcast. He did a great show with Dr. Gary James the other day. City historian. Amazing show. Go and give it a watch.
Yeah, it was very good.
Cheers, mate.
Martin, I respect everyone on this panel because I really do appreciate it. because I had to unsubscribe to another City channel. I won't say his name, you know, and he basically called me very pessimistic and stuff like that, and shut down my opinion. So I unsubscribed to him. I don't like being shut down, because otherwise, what's the point of me having an opinion on
Abdullah? I get called that every week. Every week I get called that.
Abdullah, you can't help but see the irony that someone accused you of being pessimistic, and then you come to a channel with Alan on it.
Alan's the Don.
Me and you have chatted.
And Martin's a legend.
Abdullah, you know, we've chatted.
Alan's the Don of kebab, that's what he is.
We've even chatted privately. You know that.
Yes.
The thing is, I always say, I'll chat City to anyone. No, I will not agree with everyone. Not everyone agrees with me. But it's what you believe. Your opinions shouldn't be ever put down because they're your opinions. What I have to do as a host, and Andy has to, and Pat has to, and Ozzy and Rich and Alan and Carl as a channel owner, we've got to look at both sides. We have to look from a fan. We then have to look from the club and the business side. And that's what we're doing with Cancelo.
I tell you this, Martin. Your channel only appeals to me the most. This, no offense, I love City Extra, but the chat in there is just toxic. The chat in Stephen Mancunian's is toxic. Anything you say, you just get shut down, and there's something wrong with you or something like that, and you're not a fan. So yeah, I generally do prefer your chat because I don't really get shut down as much from having an actual opinion. Just because, I'm sorry, like if people, if I don't follow the sheep mentality and sheep opinion, and I have to be happy clappy, then I try to stay away from YouTube.
I appreciate that, and we welcome everyone. And we'll welcome everyone from all walks of life, and I appreciate those words of support, as I do anyone who comes on. This is why we wanted to do this show. Because me, Pat, Ozzy, and Rich say it is your channel. Yes, we're the faces. Your channel.
And congrats on the 2K, by the way. Congrats on 2K.
No, thank you. But honestly, listen,
I need to go.
I think all of them are great because we all do something a bit different. We all do something. But thank you for your comments. Honestly,
no worries.
Abdullah, come on again, mate, when we do the next one.
No worries.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Abdullah. Good to meet you, mate.
Yeah.
Good stuff
to see you,
brother.
Good to meet with you guys. Love to see you, the Don.
Ignore him. If anyone wants to come on, like I said, the link is there. I know DCU, we're going to come in. If you want to come in, jump in, mate. The water's lovely. Obviously, you have to deal with idiots like Alan, but I'm sorry, now I can do it that way.
Hey,
I'm joking. Yo, Cancelo is an actual... Cancelo's a weird one. It was like the worst time to have his little wobble. With his contract and his wage, it was like, of all the people to do it. If it was Laporte or someone in a year's, Gundogan with a year left, you're like, tell you what, ride this out. But 4 years with $250,000 a week, you're like, oh, God.
Martin, I saw this cartoon this morning about Cancelo. So there's a guy who's digging a mine, and at the end of the mine, there are diamonds, right? And he keeps digging and digging, and he gets to like an inch to break the barrier to get the diamond, and he turns around. That's Cancelo in January.
Mm-hmm. You know, I've heard this as well. Cancelo could be given to Barca as loan. That's fine. Interest. That's the problem of it is the last part. Nobody wants the mandatory buy.
As long as he's off the books and he's half wages, that's fine. He just can't be around. He just can't be around.
The problem is, I don't know if we can loan him for 4 years.
Yeah, true.
We can't just loan the guy for 4 years straight.
You can loan him for a year, can't you? And we'll figure it
Let's
out.
do a year.
Do you know what made it worse?
Send him to New York.
He went to Bayern, became a bit of a dick.
Or Melbourne. Send him to Melbourne.
If he'd have gone to Bayern and probably really kick, because for the first 2 weeks he was great, and then all of a sudden he went back to being prime Cancelo, and bottom lip went out when Nagelsmann went and Tuchel went in. And I know it's probably hard because he's gone, I've left a 3 at the back team where I've lost my place Come to buying, I've got a nice 4 at the back with overlapping fullbacks. And within 3 weeks, he's straight back to a 3 at the back system. So he's probably thinking, for God's sake. But adapt. Nathan Ake lost his dad.
And played the next day.
Played the next day and scored.
No, he scored a goal on the same day that his dad passed away.
That was the next day.
Was it? Either way.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was immediate.
It's amazing.
Whether it's same or the next,
It's very,
still
very
really
sudden,
immediate.
yeah.
So at the end of the day, if Aki can turn that around, someone else can. And this is the problem. I think we found out who Pep was talking about in January. When he was talking about the sulkers and the moaners and the ones who aren't asked, we found out who they were. And they won't be here. You know, I've always said, no worries, mate. Carl, let me know when you've got to shoot, mate. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes. So, yeah.
Don't worry. Muddy Duck's here. I really want to get Muddy Duck on. Good evening, Muddy Duck. How are you, mate? Can you hear us? Hello.
Go put your mic on, Muddy.
It would appear that it is.
Let me just type in here. Muddy. Right, we'll carry on and then Muddy might start speaking.
I just think Cancelo will go for a year on loan, mate. I think it's going to be too hard to offload him with the current situation with people clubs with no money because they haven't got the money at the moment to offload him. I just think we'll just have to, bang him on loan for a year wherever it is, without the buy-on clause, and try and deal with it next year. I think that's what they'll end up trying to do. I just can't see it.
How do you own him now when Bayern are struggling to even register Gundogan?
Before I leave, real quick, everybody out there, make sure you vote for the Mancunian Way as the YouTube channel of the year. If you're watching this, go on Twitter, look for the handle, vote for the Mancunian Way.
That's a bit of tongue-in-cheek, mate. I know City Extra are winning it.
I just voted. So.
I appreciate that, mate.
All right, mate. Talk to you soon. I'll catch you on YouTube.
Take care. Go and give pitch points and true City fan love.
Give me a call later, Carl.
Okay, I'll do that.
Carl, let me harass you later.
Okay. Bye. Bye, guys.
All right, I was doing an hour.
See you, Carl.
See you. Bye.
Take care, mate. It's the Seal Blue. Hello, mate. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate that, mate. Superstar. Thank you. I hope I don't waffle too much for you. Anyway, it's nice to see you back. Been too long, mate. Don't know where Muddy Duck's gone. It's disappeared. Like I said, the link is there. Anyone's jump in. The water's lovely. Have a chat with me and Stud. Ignore moaning Ninny up there. Anyway.
I tell you what, Pat looks a bit fresh this morning, doesn't he? He's, very...
I don't know. I've actually heard he's about $100 lighter.
Oh, that's what I think so, yeah. We'll see.
I think he's about £100 lighter, and I don't mean in weight.
He has a big grin on his face,
The weight of his wallet might be 100
Yeah,
down.
one minute, Martin, you accuse me of being a raging alcoholic, and then next minute it's bloody a night at the Playboy Mansion. What the fuck's going on here?
Well, I don't know. I'm just starting to think you're doing it all. Every other show I see you on, you go on like you're some, I don't know, like you're Liam Gallagher. When I've seen you go on other shows, he goes on other shows, go, yeah, like what's he doing?
Oh, were you watching Noisy Neighbours the other day?
Where do you think you got this idea from, mate?
You know me, mate. I can't sit still for 10 minutes, so.
Move will be fine. Move will be fine. I need to get Move on here at some point. That'd be great. We don't need players like Cancelo at the club. That's why I'm glad he's left. Not left yet.
He's still there. He could be at pre-season training, mate.
Is he gone off mute again? What's he doing?
Say goodbye to her. Leave him alone. Giving her a
I thought
kiss.
she was cleaning your thing.
No, she was. She's been cleaning that this in the middle of the night. Don't you worry about that.
Oh, just behave.
Brilliant.
Right, DC's here. DC, good afternoon. Evening. How are you?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Listen, I would rather give the floor to somebody much more knowledgeable than I. I just wanted to say, Martin, how much I enjoy this channel. You have no idea how lonely it can be being a City fan in the United States. So thank you so much. You're all like friends to me.
No, we appreciate it. Thank you for the support. It really does mean a lot. Like I said, without people like yourself, this is nothing. You know, I'd have to sit talking with Alan for 4 hours and I get bored after 5 minutes. So I've got to.
Hang on, you're the one that rang me, "Are you free?" last night. And God knows what time.
Yeah, I was bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
I love you, Alan.
Thank
DC,
you.
anything you want to ask, fire away. We don't even matter if you've got small ball knowledge, big ball knowledge. We don't care. You know, you're here. Appreciate that. Any question you want, fire away.
Honestly, I just want to say I hope we get Gvardiol over the line. He's one I really, really want.
Do you think? Are you concerned about the delay? Because I've read that by a few fans today.
I am. I understand we must have patience, but I lack patience very severely.
I think it'll get done. It will get done.
I think, do you know the big thing for me? I think when you start talking about 80, 90 million pound, 100 million pound deals, I think we forget sometimes how much work has to go into them deals.
Yeah,
because it's not just a quick 10 million away you going. And I think what's made it worse is we're seeing RB Leipzig sign their replacements. And they've got them in, done a medical, announced them, all done and dusted. And we're sat there sorting out who's going to buy lunch and dinner for Gvardiol at the moment.
Is he on holiday now still, or what? What's the situation? Does he come home?
From what I've heard, Alan, Gvardiol is sat in his porch or his landing hallway with his bag packed, ticket in hand, and waiting to get over here. Right, if the guy could swim here, Alan, he would swim here.
Yeah. So what the hell's playing? What they're playing at then?
I mean, do you think DC? This is to DC. Oh, she's gone. I lost her. But I'll ask that. She might be listening still. Thank you for calling. If you want to come back, DC, by all means, don't be shy. Lovely to hear from you. Thank you. Are City penny pinching here?
Possibly. Still negotiating on the fee. Yeah, possibly. But look at the Arsenal scenario with Declan Rice. They still haven't signed him, and they are trying to penny pinch. Still, the way the deal is spread up over a certain length of time, and West Ham are not happy.
See, it's just proof. It's just proof that the higher you're paying for a transfer fee, the longer it's going to take to get everything processed. Yeah. As simple as that. Yeah. But also too, that's another reason why we are known as Release Clause FC, because you don't have to go through all this. You just pay the release clause and off you go.
Yeah, correct.
Apart by ouches, do you think the Laporte deal's holding up? I asked this and I got told they're not.
Is it correct that Juventus are looking at him at the moment? Laporte?
Yeah, but Juventus are in a lot of trouble.
What, financially?
Both.
Well, Juventus are looking to sell Vlahovic to Chelsea, hopefully try and get back some of the 80 million.
That's looking for about peanuts. They're literally, they've now been kicked out the Europa Conference. They've literally been kicked out of the Champions League, kicked out of that. They've kicked out of everything now.
They were deducted points twice in Serie A.
Yeah. They've been fined again. They're only willing, because they're the only club interested in Laporte right now.
Well, because
they're only willing to go to 30 million euros.
Yeah.
But I did get told, because I asked, it says the Gvardiol and Laporte thing linked, and I got told no. Gvardiol would still come in if Laporte stayed.
This is the problem, is that the clubs around Europe don't have a lot of money at the moment, and we have to accept that. And we bought these players on big salaries, and that's an issue to get them out the door is a real issue.
You know, given the financial state of a lot of continental clubs in continental Europe, you almost feel like the best financial suitors right now, if you want to look at it from a financial standpoint, is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Here's a question. We did go after Bellingham.
We failed. We failed with Bellingham,
No,
unfortunately.
but we did. Failed.
Yeah.
And after Rice, I don't believe any of this. We put a bid in just to play Monopoly with them. City don't do them games. You know that, Alan.
No,
you know
they don't.
people at the club. They don't play them sort of games. They haven't done. City don't this. We'll stick 80. You don't bluff an 80 and 90 million pound bid. You don't play bluff with that. So, yes, they were after Rice, didn't get him. Tried for Kimmich, didn't get him. Do you think, and Andy got laughed at with this on Twitter, but do you think we're kind of enemies of our own downfall in our own upturn because we're so successful and have been so successful that maybe some players are a bit like, don't know if I get in that team.
Yeah, well, you know, whoever
you know what I mean? You know what I'm not meaning it in a negative way.
Victims of our own success.
Yeah, whoever we buy, the player's going to think, well, am I going to play and get good game time there? And the answer to that question is, you know, you can't guarantee you spot at City, no matter who you are. I don't care who it is. They're not guaranteed. I think the only person who's probably guaranteed a place is Edison. You know, when it comes to our best team, and Haaland, maybe Haaland as well.
Right.
But, well, no, not really. He's not played a few games.
Piss off. Are you putting in ahead of him? Oscar Bob?
No, Bernardo, you could play Bernardo in there and still do all right.
Oh, Muddy Ducks joined us. Let's see if we get Muddy in.
Between me and you, I'm kind of hoping the extra midfielder that we've got is McAtee. I'm really hoping for the best with him. I like him. I rate him. I think he's a good one.
I really want him to give him a go.
Yeah, I do as well. I do as well.
I have seen your question, mate, and I am coming to it. It's been starred. Let's see if we can get Muddy Duck in. Muddy Duck, are you there?
You've got to talk, Muddy.
Hello.
Muddy.
Muddy.
He can't get his volume going. Get your microphone going, Muddy. He can't get his microphone. He hasn't got a class, so you can use his microphone.
What are the doors? Can hear him?
Hello.
Muddy.
Hey. Martin, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, mate.
Oh, where am I? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Yes. Talk.
Evening, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us, Muddy? We can hear you. We can hear you, Muddy. Someone put in the chat we can hear him, but I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah.
You two just see if you can talk to him. I'll just put it in the chat.
Hello, Buddy. Can you hear us or not? Yes or no?
Can't hear us clearly, Alan.
It must have a bad signal or something where he is.
Yeah, he can't hear us, mate.
Right, we'll just see. He might come back in a minute. I'm going to move on in a minute to another subject I want to talk about. Unless people come in. And like I said, the subject is yours. If you bring in, join by StreamYard, we will take your questions. Always would have chosen Madrid over us. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. McAtee is great. I'm excited by him. We'll talk about that as well. Saudi Arabian League. Now, right, okay. Let me just get, I did have the list up. Now, this summer, obviously the Saudi Arabian League has kicked in. So far, the biggest one has obviously been Karim Benzema, who left Real Madrid to join Al Ittihad on a free transfer. Then N'Golo Kante went and followed Benzema to the same club. Ruben Neves from Wolves, 25 years old, left Wolves to go Al Hilal for 55 to 60 million euros. Koulibaly, Martin's favourite player, joined Al Hilal as well, 17 million euro. Eduardo Mendy left Chelsea to go to Saudi Arabia. Steven Gerrard has gone to coach over there. Marcelo Brozovic has left Inter Milan to join there. Jota has left Celtic to go to Al Ittihad as well. Bobby Firmino has joined there. The biggest one, that was the biggest surprise, was Milinkovic Savic has left Italy to join Al Hilal. Talks ongoing are Ziyech for Chelsea, Bernardo Silva, Manchester City to Al Hilal, Neymar to Al Hilal, Saul from Atletico Madrid to Al Nassr, Wilfried Zaha, Gianluca Buffon. Paul Pogba is also in talks. So is Jordan Henderson. Messi, Lukaku, Mourinho, Son Heung-min, Luka Modric, Pedro, Jamie Vardy, and Alexander Mitrovic, Fulham, have all rejected. Right. She left now. You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, man.
She left. You all right? You on your own?
I'm all good.
I mean, she's still in the room.
Good she is.
What's she called? What's her name? What's her name?
But can we move on?
Hello, beautiful.
Hello. Look at his face. Look at his face.
No, right, no. What do you make of this Saudi Arabian League? And before we start, there is no racism in this at all. There is nothing. I see good and bad. I'll explain the bad and the good. My issue with it being bad is I think it'll lead to a bigger problem down the line.
Can I go first?
Go on.
Right. Every sport, and I mean every worldwide sport that's televised on TV, will be run by the Saudi Arabians for the next 5 years. Mainly because no one else has got any money compared with them. And the world's in a bad place financially. They're the ones with the money. And professional sportsmen are interested in a money deal. That's what the bottom line is. Golf, tennis, football, you name it, it's going that direction. And I think we might not like it, but it is what it is. Professional sportsmen want money. They've got short careers, and that's what they're thinking about. That's why they're attracted to it. At the end of the day, they go to the early 30s, 35 maximum. So they've got to cash in while they can. And you know that's why our attitude towards football is very, very different, because we support a club, or whoever it is supports a club. But the footballers don't think that way. It's about making as much money as they possibly can. It's a fact.
Yeah, and Alan, just to continue on your point as well too, like from the get-go, to me, it does have the same sort of. It's similar to sort of what the Turkish league was. The difference is there's a lot more money being pumped into this particular league. You know, it's a great place for elite players, world-class players who are just past their prime now to go and earn a nice big fat payday before they hang their boots up after a long and distinguished career.
The cashing in.
The only thing is that, and I don't know if maybe the day comes where there might be a huge shift in power with this Saudi league. They may get some massive Euro wonder in the next few years. They may get some massive European wonder kid to come over to Saudi Arabia and play for them. You know, who decides to take the massive salary over you know the glory of European trophies and things like that. When that happens, we could easily see something along the lines of what we're seeing with the divide. Well, up until they merged together, but between the PGA Tour in golf and Live Golf, where there was just a massive exodus of the top players, and all the major winners were all deciding to go there to take a payday because they weren't happy with the way things were going in the PGA Tour. And I suppose you could put links to that because a lot of
Mm.
players nowadays may feel alienated by the lack of finances within European clubs, the
Yep.
amount of regulations and rules that are
Absolutely.
coming in with UEFA at the moment.
Yep.
And they may think this isn't for me. I'm going to go somewhere where there is no rules. The only rules they may have to abide by are just obviously the difference in society. But apart from that, they're going to be earning 800 grand a week.
Jordan Henderson's been offered 700 grand a week.
You can't mate. If someone offers you that kind of cash, you've got to think about it. If you're early 30s, you've got to think about it.
Okay, let me spin it this way. This is a problem. Not a problem, a concern. Addy makes. Only issue with me is Saudi League stakes in the Premier League clubs. The fact they can buy Neves for stupid money on stupid wages and then just send him to Newcastle on loan. Now, the reason why I mention this, and this is no dig at Newcastle, because it's not their fault. It's not their fault. So I'm not having a dig at Newcastle. I respect Newcastle. Great fan base, great club, fantastic club. They deserve all the success they're going to get eventually. My thing is, though, with the rules they are at the minute, they can go to Benzema and get him because Newcastle cannot get Benzema in now under their FFP regulations. They couldn't afford the wages. They couldn't go and spend 50 million on Ruben Neves and pay him 150 grand a week because they'd blow a lot of their budget out. So here's my thing. What's stopping them doing? Well, eventually we can't. And I didn't like the deal when we did it. I was straight with you. I wasn't comfortable with the deal when we did it with Lampard. I kind of think we navigated around it because Chelsea were never going to loan Lampard to Sarah. We did it through the back door. New York City via us.
Yep.
Right? What's stopping Newcastle getting Benzema?
Nothing to stop them at all. If the rules are not.
Does that not sit wrong with you though, Alan? Somewhere?
Not, mate. It's business. All the rules. Let's be completely honest. Let's just go back. All the rules that have been put in the Premier League FFP, which started in 2014, right? Which they did. Not UEFA. That was UEFA. Started in that. That was UEFA.
Oh, it's like the Premier League rules.
Yeah, you're talking Premier League, right? The only reason these UEFA and the Premier League have brought in FFP was to stop teams like City and Chelsea at that time dominating, and they've changed the rules. I think it's something like 9 times since then to stop City manipulating, stop PSG manipulating, stop Chelsea manipulating, stop the teams that have got this kind of money manipulating. Now, at the moment, there's no rules to stop doing that. I remember Man City also buying Manchester City, buying a lad from Melbourne City, the lad that went up at Celtic, and they loaned him up in Celtic. They can do that scenario. And they also the lad that went to Huddersfield Town, the ball-headed guy.
Oh, he's talking about Daniel Azani and Marin Moy.
Thank you. I forgot Lozani.
Yeah. So and he unfortunately got seriously injured. But on principle, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but no, it's not, because that's totally different, Alan. I'll tell you why it's different.
Why?
Zana was already in Australia. Yeah. He didn't leave, for example, Liverpool, going to Melbourne City, and then coming to Manchester City.
We still paid $2 million for him.
No, but my point was his parent club was in Australia, Melbourne City.
Yeah.
Right. All he did was go to Celtic. That's allowed. That's like from Fulham to City.
Yep.
But what you're doing is Liverpool won't sell me Mo Salah. So the Saudi club buy Mo Salah. So New York City buy Mo Salah.
Yep.
Doesn't come under the FFP. Then loan him to Manchester City. For example, Neymar has been talked about to go into New York City.
Yep.
Would you be comfortable if that? Oh, he's going to New York City to join Messi to be the face that runs the place.
It's not about. It's not.
And then bolted into Manchester City because that's the way around our back door.
If it's within the rules,
yeah, scratch
if
that.
Martin, if it's within the rules, yeah. But we all know what's going to happen.
Don't sit right with me, that Alan.
Yeah, but mate, that we both know what's going to happen. If that actually happens with Newcastle, it hasn't at the moment. If that happens, the Premier League will meet and change the rules because they will change the rules.
Right.
I mean,
and again,
keep changing the rules.
Newcastle, because I've just said, if Neymar did it for us, it won't sit right with me. Here's my next issue with it. Right now, they're only taking over-the-hill players. End of the career.
Yeah.
Manchester City want to negotiate an Erling Haaland contract in 2 years, for example.
Yep.
How much do you want, Erling? 600 grand a week. Yeah, it's a bit tight that under our restrictions because we've got FFP. How about $500,000? All right then. Al Hilal. We'll pay you $1 million a week. We don't have financial restrictions over here.
This is why it's wrong.
But even Martin Allen, even more reason wouldn't you suggest that wouldn't happen? Because if one thing we've learnt about the rise of the UAE and particularly in Dubai, with all the money that was invested in turning it into a playground for Westerners to come and travel and visit and things like that, what they want to do is they take the ideas of the Western world and they try to make them either equally as good or even better. And I think that's what the Saudis want to do with the Saudi League. What they're doing is they're taking these European players, this European sort of style of, European league, and they want to make something that's as good as what you get in Europe, but it's for them because they have the money and the resources to be able to do that. I just don't know. I mean, to me, it just seems like there's so many grey zones in terms of trying to this whole taking a European player and then trying to get them out through some Saudi backdoor. Like it's just too convoluted. If there is a way to do it, then it becomes a battle of, is it financially right? Is it morally right? So I don't know. It doesn't exactly sit well with me, but at the same time, I just can't see it happening because I think Saudis are too focused on endorsing their own league by trying to get these big, high-profile European players in.
Third caveat to this. Now, by the way, I know Nick said it. I used Haaland as an example. That could be any club, any player. All it'll take is one player to go, one big player.
Yep.
It's a bit like the opening of the door. At the moment, they're only taking and this is going to sound so degrading. They're taking the offcuts of clubs. Bobby Firmino, Henderson. They're not taking the prime. Let's put it on, mate. If Al Hilal or anybody else came knocking door and went, Mo Salah, different topic. Now, here's my caveat to it. UEFA changed their whole rules and regulations and revamped the Champions League because of the Super League. Yeah. There's a big fight at the minute for TV rights. Hence, BT has now gone to TNT. I never thought Ted Turner would get into the old soccer, as he calls it.
I thought he was all about baseball and his Atlanta Braves.
I thought he was baseball and wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know why suddenly all of a sudden he jumped into the soccer world. But anyway.
It's a weird one, yeah.
Because there's money there.
Do you know what I reckon it is? I reckon it's for the World Cup.
Possibly. Yeah. There's my fourth caveat coming with the Saudi Arabian League very soon as well. Because I think there's an end game to this. And you just said it.
The World Cup.
So what happened?
That's why they got Ronaldo. At the
So
time
here we
that
go.
they got him.
So here we go then. They come in and UEFA are like, Saudi Arabia. I know people are going to say about China. China was pigeon feed compared to what these Saudis' money have got. We're talking trillionaires who are not governed. They don't work under any financial restriction. PFI, by the way, there was also a lot of dodginess going on that between Chelsea. Because Chelsea were in a pickle. had to raise 250 million by the 30th, or they were going bye-bye. Oh, funnily enough, Saudi Arabia, 250 million pounds worth of player gets shifted by the 30th. Funny that, isn't it?
Do you know what's
Don't
funny?
forget-
I'm,
don't-
do you
hang
know
on,
what's funny,
Martin.
Martin. I'm surprised. Sorry, Alan. Just going to quickly say, I'm surprised Barca hasn't been interested in trying to sell a few players to the Saudi league because, let's be honest, they need the cash.
This is my point. It's all gone to one club virtually. And listen, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with Saudi. I'm saying do it, have fun with it, become a force. But you need some You need some governing. You need some regulations.
Why?
This is why.
Yeah, why?
Because Alan will be at £2 million a week for a player.
And Europe won't be able to compete with that.
Well, it's not UEFA or the Premier League need to act. It's FIFA, and FIFA going to do capped wages.
Well, Alan, FIFA already have with Al Nassr because they're not allowing any transfers. Yeah.
But if FIFA get involved, they've got to say worldwide salary cap. Worldwide, no matter who it is, worldwide. This has gone on. These countries have gone on well before the Premier League started. I'm going to go back to the 80s when Gaza and Graham Souness went to Italy. Italy had all the best players in the world in the 80s.
Yeah, but bit different though, Alan. We're talking the strategy. I know what you're saying. I don't mean to interfere.
There was more prestige to it.
Yeah. Look at the wages.
Well, that was the same thing.
There wasn't that much discrepancy. You're talking trillionaires, Alan.
Man, they were doubled the wages at that time. They doubled the wages. I remember Gaza going to Rome, and in Lazio, and he was on more than double. He was one of as at Tottenham.
Well, then you've also got
club could compete.
But you know what will happen then? So to compete with the Saudi League, if it takes off, Super League will come back.
Yeah, and it will. Mate, I've said it all along. Mate, Martin, listen, I've said it all along. The Super League will have it. I'm going to give you a scenario that we talked about a while ago, right? Why do you think all these Arabs and Americans are buying English clubs? Why do you think? Why? Multi-billionaires who've got so much money.
Be a Super League.
Because the Premier League's a Super League on its own already.
Yeah,
they think there's going to be a Super League.
Correct.
Does that mean there will be one?
I think there will.
Okay, then.
At some point.
But it won't be the one that we fought to.
No, it'll be a different format, but it will be a Super League.
Well, here's the thing for you, Alan. If fans are not willing to go to Wembley Stadium at 5:30 on a Sunday, what makes you think they're going to travel all the way to Madrid, Milan, and everywhere else? Well, or do we just play in empty stadiums?
There won't be empty stadiums, mate.
Who's going? Because no one from Manchester will go.
Well, that's debatable.
Is it?
They've already done a season in empty stadiums on the TV.
I'm sorry. I'm sure there's a boycott. I'm sure there's a boycott in 2 weeks. Just Wembley. That's just bloody London. But Alan's saying they'll all toddle off to Spain.
Mate, listen. Fans' attendances at grounds is only less than 10% of the actual revenue that comes in to each.
They don't call us Manchester City anymore, then, Alan.
Well, mate, but I'm telling you, it will happen.
Don't build a hotel. Don't extend the attendance up.
I'm not saying I'm for it, but what I'm saying is it will happen.
No, you're looking at it in a very play. What you're saying is the fans don't matter anymore.
Not said that at all. But there will be fans that will go.
Like the fans who are going to Wembley. You've ignored that point 4 times.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. Well, that's their choice, isn't it? But there will be people that will go instead.
The thing is, Alan, fans are getting to a point where they've had enough.
It will happen. I'm telling you, it will happen.
And that's fine, Alan. That's the day Manchester City I will no longer attend.
You'll not go, but someone will take your place, Martin.
Who?
People that want to go, mate. And they will want to go watch sport on Saturday afternoon. They will do. They will do.
So you think
it's all right saying I wouldn't go if the Super League goes. That's fine, but there were people will go because people around the world, like Pat, like me, who have moved to Australia, right, or people in America in the pond or Ireland or Holland or whatever. The Super League comes in, mate. They will go. I'll guarantee it, because these people that are buying the clubs can see it happening. That's the reason why.
Alan, I get what you're saying. What you're basically saying is that the corporate side of football wants this to happen because they know that if they can fill a stadium with tourists, it's going to get more money because they're going to be spending in the gift shops, spending more on food and drink, and more on hospitality. So I can see that. And to be honest with you, I don't want that to happen. But God,
Patrick, let's get it straight, Patrick. I agree with. I don't want it to happen, but I can see it happening because of the people that are buying clubs.
You just said what I was about to say. I don't want it to happen, but harsh reality. It's harsh reality.
Yeah, let's get it right. I don't want it to happen. I agree with Martin, but I'm looking at it as a business point of view. That's why these people are buying our clubs. That is why it's happening.
Now I get, by the way, people are saying here, good evening, DJ. I get that they didn't need fans. Paddock City fans are not. Listen, I'm not disputing that. But match-going fans are not all over the world, Pardo.
Yeah.
This is the key here. I'm not talking about the globalization of City. I'm not meaning it in that way. Match-going fans, week in, week out, are local.
Yeah.
Pat is not traveling. Pat is not traveling over from Melbourne week in, week out for the Saturday 3 o'clock.
Sydney,
and Melbourne.
Yeah,
Alan's not. It's something they come to twice a year.
Yeah.
So this is my point. It's fine having that. I have no problem with Pat, Alan, anyone coming from South Africa. Great, come and join the gang. Have a great day. I'll meet you down there. I'll buy you a pint. But on a Tuesday night against West Ham, what happens then, Alan? Empty stadium? You make no money. Nobody goes in the club shop. Nobody stays in the hotel. Nobody buys the food. What happens then?
Like I've just said to you, I don't agree with it, but I can see it happening.
Alan, I understand what you're saying. I'm asking you the point. What happens on a Tuesday night against the West Ham?
I can see it happening, mate. I honestly can.
That's what I mean by football ends for a lot of people, then, Alan.
Yeah, I know it does. But why do you think that? Why do you think these owners, especially the Americans, because they're used to the system?
See, that'll be different.
The problem is we don't want the heart and the fans are the heart and soul of football. The problem is the whole system's run by soulless people.
Correct. It's about this.
Yeah.
See, Linear's put London is different, but London's closer than Madrid, Milan.
Just as expensive.
We've all got jobs. Are we all going to travel to Milan? The idea of playing at Barcelona and Milan, Borussia Dortmund doesn't happen often. It's that bit more special.
Yeah.
If it becomes week in, week out, boring then.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. I don't think they're thinking about it. Anyway, I've got some people. I think Ozzy's here, but I don't know why he's not on camera, which is weird.
I just think these people that own our clubs, including Sheikh Mansour, they're not stupid. They're not stupid businessmen.
Yeah. Look at Todd Bowley, though, Alan. I want to do this integrated interleague match. It got thrown out on its ass.
The Americans
over there don't want to see a game like that.
What was it? Sorry, what was it? I haven't heard about.
He wanted to do a inter-promotional spectacular game where all the northern players got together on one team, all the southern players got together on one team, and we all sat in the stadium, held hands, and sing "Kumbaya."
Right.
A bit like Queensland.
Sounds like one of the most American things I've ever heard done to English.
So, could you imagine a Leeds United fan sitting with a United fan going, "Hey, let's sing."
Yeah.
Just while they kick crap out of each other, you know what I mean?
It's like Queens against New South Wales in rugby league.
And if anyone doesn't know what I mean, if you've never been to a game in England, and Damesh, I'm going to bring you in. Ozzy, you need to come on camera, mate, if you're there. I don't know if you're there, mate. If you can't, just stick it in private chat. I'll bring you in anyway, Ozzy. You don't need to wait. Where was I at now? If you've never been to a match in England, we have segregation. And we pay millions a season for police. So when you see the away end, there's about 200 stewards and about 500 police. That's why you can't do an integrated friendly match. Because they just don't get them. Football is tribal over here.
Yeah.
Very tribal.
That's why the Americans don't get it.
It won't wash. Some people say we're very in the 60s and the 70s. Yes, football has moved on, but when it comes to the tribalism, we're still kind of stuck in the 80s. Carl, who was on earlier, he sent me a message the other day telling me how much tickets were for the Super Bowl.
That's ridiculous.
Nearly collapsed. Nobody in England would pay that.
What does he say? Starting at 5,000 US.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting.
We did a podcast on your old.
That's the nosebleed. You might as well be on the roof.
On your old thing, and talked about 75 quid at Tottenham being too expensive. 75 quid.
Yep. Night's accommodation was less than that.
You couldn't get your left toenail into the stadium in America for 75 quid.
Nope.
75
quid doesn't even get you. 75 quid doesn't even get you a shirt at the gift shop.
Could you imagine Germany, Alan? German fans wouldn't stand for that.
Oh,
no, they wouldn't.
Anyway, let me get Damish in. Damish, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I see you, mate. Right. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no worries. Like, I was glad to see a call-in show. So yeah, it's great. How are you guys all doing?
Good, mate. Good, mate. Good to have you on.
Yeah, no worries. Like, just wanted to give a little bit of my introduction first. So myself, Dashmesh. I'm originally from New Delhi, India, but currently I'm living in Ireland. So I'm working here, but like haven't really got a chance to go for a match properly in Manchester yet. But hopefully in 2024 I get a chance to do it. Since I also need a visa and all those things. So it's a big task for me to even go for one match.
No, and I'll tell you what, Demish, I'll say to you, what I said to everyone, if anyone who gets over there, email me and I'll help show you around the city, take you on a tour. I'll take you to the main road where it used to be.
Costa Coffee.
Yeah.
Costa Coffee, yeah.
Costa Coffee, he lives there. He actually has.
The basic thing is, anyone who comes over there, I want them to feel part of the family. I want them to, I did it with Pat. I took Pat to the old main road. Cost him a coffee at Starbucks. Like, no, I'm joking.
No.
And it was weird because, do you know what gives me? And it's not me of, I know it all because I don't. I'm a fan like all of you. I've never claimed to be Mr. Manchester City or anything. I've never done anything like that. I don't. I'm just a fan. But what I enjoyed was seeing Pat's face walk around the streets of like Kippax Street, Blue Moon Street, Main Street, and it was all different streets. Kincladsey Way, Francis Lee Way.
Yep.
And it was his eyes lighting up because you could see all the memories of what he's seen on the TV.
Yeah,
and the photos. So it was mostly like you stand in one corner and then an old photo you'd see and you're like, yeah, now I remember.
You know what it is with me?
The Kippax and
I actually feel privileged in a way of I get to see this team week in, week out. Some fans don't.
Yep.
So I look at myself and I think I'm in a very privileged situation that I get to do that. Some fans who will never get to see the team live or they only come once. So they do. I want to help them make that experience as big and as amazing as possible. Not because I want to be Mr. Know-it-all because I'm just that kind of person. I want to help. So if anyone gets over there, hit me up. Pat, Alan. I mean, Alan's coming over, and I'm just going to block him. But we'll just, honest, we will just get together, and I'll take it around.
If I can just add to what Martin just said too, and just look, my experience of traveling, because I'm in a very fortunate position with my work and things like that. Local knowledge is the best knowledge. You will not have the best experience when you go somewhere unless you're doing it with a local. And Martin's one of the best ones to do it. For your Manchester City experience, for your overall Mancunian experience, Martin's great. Should start your own tour company, mate.
What, charge £20 like someone over the road?
Jesus. What, 20 quid just to walk in each pub?
I don't even know what he was charging for.
It was at least 20, 25 quid. The guy's an absolute joke.
My mate knows him, so I've got to be careful. Sorry, should have put a pair of fake glasses on and a tie and a shirt and do a fake.
Oh, God.
No. So, have you got any questions for would you talk about City, Dinesh?
Yeah, not just question. I would say like I have enjoyed a lot of your talks like regarding foreign fans and like how did they actually got into football and got into Manchester City. So like I had a like very different perspective to it. So like for that, I want to ask you a small question. Then I'll give you like what is my perspective on it, like just another side.
Okay.
So like when you started following Manchester City, did you actually know the history about City and all other clubs as well? Like the clubs you could have chosen, which you didn't. So did you know everything about each and every club?
Well, I was brought into supporting City because I lived in Manchester till 2007, and I was brought up there. So the reason I'm a City fan is my father. My father was a City fan. My grandfather was a City fan. So I didn't have a choice. I went in 1971 at Main Road. That was my education of City. So all the history, if you want to call it that period, I lived it, and I was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, got to 2007. Then I emigrated to Melbourne in Australia for work reasons, similar to what you've done in going to Ireland. For work reasons, you went from India to Ireland. And I'm still in Australia now. I've decided to stay, and I initially came for 2-3 years as work, but I stayed. So there you go. There's my reason. Pat's the best person to ask because Pat's an Aussie, an actual Aussie who started to follow City. So he's probably a good one to ask that question to.
Yeah, for me, Janesh, it sort of started for me where I befriended a guy in sort of primary school whose dad was originally from northern Manchester. He moved out to Australia in the 80s. And we knew each other really well because we played cricket all the time. We played grade cricket. We played schoolboy cricket, many different levels of cricket all through our teenage years. And all that time, we were all into cricket. That's all we cared about. And his dad, even though he's from Manchester, was a proper blue. You know, Australia's the best cricketing nation, as we all know. But look, just had to get that in.
What did you say?
Arguable, yeah.
So that was sort of where it started from there. But then as we got a little bit older, when we started more about, socializing, and we found that football was a much more social sport, it was like his dad became a lot more of an influence on me in terms of what teams I should follow, what teams I should support. And it sort of just came from there. And it sort of came to a front for me when one of the first times I was actually allowed to sort of, go out and sort of hang out with my mates and that sort of thing was he was having a house party at his and his dad was looking after the house party. And occasionally he'd let us have a drink and that, because we're only 15, 16 at the time, but he'd allowed us to have 1 or 2 beers. And then later on that evening, the last derby at Main Road, 9th of November 2002, I remember sitting in his dad's newly renovated man cave with the huge TV, just watching this game and just hearing the sound of the crowd. And, for me, I just asked him, I said, like, you guys sound like you've just won the league. And he goes, oh, no, we haven't won a trophy in 26 years. And I was like, if that's not passion for you, I don't know what is. And I wouldn't say that's the day that made me a Blue, but it sent me down the Blue wormhole because I wanted to know more as time went on.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell, basically. And there was other things too. Like I moved to New York for 2 years, made friends with other Blues there. And obviously kickoff times are a lot more favourable in the United States to watch matches than they are here in Australia. So it just sort of snowballed from there, basically.
Yeah. So for me as well, like as you said, like in India, cricket is the biggest sport in India as well. So like most of the like children or they usually follow cricket. So so did I. I used to follow more of cricket, then I slowly get into football more. And like I guess the Aguero season was the season when I started to follow football properly. Like to be fair, I did not know anything about any history of any club. Like not even United, not even Liverpool, nothing. So when I started watching it, I was like, okay, City won that year, so people can say okay because you've started following a club because they won. But I actually didn't know last year who won or who won 5 years ago, who won 10 years ago. So I just started to follow more of Manchester City when I started to see football, like from scratch, and slowly like my liking grew for City. I started following more and more, and then I went into looking for okay, this is the history of Manchester City. These are the main rivals of City. What are other clubs have done in the history? So to be fair, when people say you started following City just because City is a good team right now, I would say that's not the only point because not everyone knows what's the history of that club, what's the history of some other club. So it's not
The other thing,
it's not just about researching and then choosing your club. It's also about okay, I at that instance, okay, you like this club or you like this team, you start following them even more, and slowly and steadily you become more of a fan than a follower. So
it gets in your blood, mate. It gets in your blood.
yeah.
But referring to what you're saying about the history as well too is the other thing that fascinated me to Manchester City when I started to learn more about the club was it wasn't necessarily like we had a big history or people, our rival fans saying we have no history. I think we have an interesting history. If you really look into it, it's quite interesting. It's quite fascinating about our club.
Yeah, like to be fair, first time I saw your video, I think 2-3 weeks ago or maybe a month ago when you were explaining your journey from like I think LinkedIn to the Champions League final.
Yeah.
So when you were telling your stories or like of your history, so that was also great video for a lot of people to know okay, what are the actual points which are like prominent in the history of the club, and like it's actually great to learn those things as well because you can read on the internet okay these much league City won, these much FA Cup they won, but you don't really get to read or listen to that kind of stories. So I think that's also great to listen to.
I mean, by the way, ignore Pat. We have got a big history. Ignore Pat. It's an interesting one. It's also a big one.
Yeah, and also like you got like you hit the nail right now because history doesn't actually mean just to win.
Manchester team to win an FA Cup, first English team to win a domestic trophy and the European trophy in the same season,
and a double as well. If I'm not wrong,
highest record attendance still to this day in English football. Don't listen to him down there about this interesting history. Ignore him down there.
Sorry, according to Martin, I'm still drunk. I've been drunk for 2.5 weeks. Apparently,
no, it's quite.
I'll be right back. I'm calling room service for another bottle of champagne.
Oh, and strawberries. No, Pat is actually spot on. It is a very interesting history, and it's like me. Like I said, I was born literally outside Main Road. Anyone who knows St Mary's Hospital knows where that was in the vicinity of Main Road. Could literally see Main Road from my delivery room. Not my delivery room, where I was delivered. Some know, some don't. My father played for the football club. Played in the reserves. Was offered a contract, but back in the late 50s, there was no money in the game. Like it was now when he had a young child. My brother, who's now a lot older than me. I won't say his age. Older than Alan. But basically, so he had to turn down. My father went to St Dunstan's, I think it was, same school as former City President Bernard Alford. So I was born with it. Someone asked where my first game was. Coventry at home in the 80s. Steve Agrizovic, probably one of the best goalies I saw, but also one of the ugliest. Honestly, go and look. Not that I'm an oil painter or anything. he got his nose broken a few times.
What was the score on that?
The big thing I'd say, Damesh, is don't let anyone. To me, it doesn't matter how long you've supported Manchester City. It could be 5 minutes, could be 50 years, could be 8 years. And you know what I'm going to say. I'll say to someone, you're spot on with what you've said, and that's why I love this channel. I love the subscribers to it. Is you learn the history. You learn about the football club. You learn about our whole journey. You're interested in the journey. You don't just want to learn about Guardiola. You want to know who's this Joe Mercer guy they're talking about? Who's Malcolm Allison? Who's this guy with the big fur coat and a cigar? What's he doing? No, it wasn't Alan out on the pub. But
I think people would want to learn about winning the league and then getting relegated next season with scoring 100 goals. It's ridiculous. You think about that today. It's
literally like it's like a TV show. You could do
with a club of life. With a club of life.
You could make a TV show about any football club in the world of a journey of up and down, left and right. It would be Manchester City. We had a goalkeeper, German goalkeeper, who broke his neck in an FA Cup final and carried on playing.
Won it for us.
You do that today. You're told to get off the pitch, you're going to die. He carried on playing. And there's a statue of him in
only someone who survived the war could do something like that.
Yeah, survived the war.
Yeah.
It's like... And then you go to the other scale of a player called, and some may want to, if I say this name, the ones who know, I apologise, because you're going to scream. We had a player called Barry Conlon, who Pat was probably better up. I'm better up front than him, and I can't run for Toffa. We had a player called Barry Conlon.
Mentioned a few times, yeah.
We had a player called Danny Allsop.
Hey.
Oh, he's garbage.
Hey, get stuffed.
Sorry, Pat. He was garbage, mate. No, but
he's my generation.
And then you had King Cladser.
Always will be.
So the thing was City are the only team who could have a really bad team, but a superstar player in the middle of it. And you're like, what? It's like World Cup, a former World Cup winner as manager, he relegated us.
Yeah.
There's so many little stories in there, and you think, what? And to me, just enjoy it, and don't let anyone ever tell you how bad it is, because to me, like, you're wearing the shirt now, wear it with pride.
Like, I just couldn't come to the show for the first time without wearing the shirt.
No, and honestly, do it. Go outside.
No, go and get a DVD. If you've got a DVD player in your room, in your house where you're living, go and get a film called Keeper.
No one uses DVDs anymore.
Well, all right. I'll download Keeper.
All right, get your VHS out there, Martin. You dinosaur.
You dinosaur. Yeah.
Don't beat him, Max.
Keeper. Story about Trotman. So he's the goalkeeper that broke his neck, and he was a prisoner of war in the Second World War, and that's how he stayed in England, and ended up signing for Man City. Okay, then you can get Blue Moon Rising as a film as well. That's a film you can go and get that or download it. We'll give you some history, but the best place to go is on YouTube. You just put Manchester City history and go through the YouTube scenario. It tells you all about this. When I started watching City, we were second in the league behind Liverpool in the 70s, and in the late 60s and 70s we won everything: league, FA Cup, League Cup, European Cup, Winners' Cup that used to be. So we had a successful side, and we went through financial problems, which is when we got relegated, and we were up, down, with a terrible team. But the one common denominator was the fans filled Main Road every week, and they did. Even when we went down to divisions, they filled it. So when people say we have no fans, that's a lie and a lot of bull. So you go on to the YouTube and just go. That tells you everything you need to know, and then at least you know then about the history of the club.
Yeah, it just like I say, John. Have you got any other questions before we let you go, mate?
Not really a question, but yeah, like just want to say that it was great talking to you guys, and yeah, we'll continue following you, listening to more shows, and get like future more chances to come on the show. I would love that.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And do you know what? I think we might even do these on the more regular. We might do these once a month because I think it might be something people enjoy, and I think we'll get more people because people want to get confident. And it's not because you know what? I'll give credit to you and everyone who's been on camera tonight, or even come on. It's not easy to come on and talk to people who I don't know why some people think we know stuff and we don't. We're just City fans like you. None of us are celebrities. We're not big people. We're just City fans. And I big up anyone who comes on here. The courage, just chat, be yourself. Yeah. I always love you. Is if you come in on here, like just you turn to a member of your family, your friend, because that's what we are.
It's just about getting more confidence. Like if you do it a couple of times, then you feel more comfortable talking more. Like
I remember when I first come on this 4 or 5 years ago, I was nervous and couldn't string 5 words together.
Still can't.
So, look at Alan. He's 5 years down the line, still can't do it. So no, at the end of the day, but honestly, everyone's loving you in the comments, Damash, telling you thanks. But honestly, thank you. We'll get you on again.
Enjoy
everyone.
Enjoy traveling us. Enjoy.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you.
Take care.
That's why we like doing it. I'm gonna say I don't know if this is Ozzy.
It's good, lad.
Hello, Ozzy. Someone's not just called themselves Ozzy.
Ozzy, how are you?
Ozzy.
Evening, lads.
How are you doing?
Has he been backstage ignoring my messages for the last 10 minutes?
He's probably been busy, mate. He's got kids. Come on, give the guy a break.
Yes, that's correct. I've been busy.
Hey?
I said, yes, Alan, I've been busy.
Good shot. Good man. Good man.
How are you all doing, guys? Sorry for me being late, but I didn't get back until 9:30, near 10 tonight, so...
No, don't worry, mate. Don't worry. No, we were just giving Pat his P45. Didn't work, though, because we had to explain what a P45 was to Pat, because I forgot he was Australian.
Being sacked, yeah.
And then we found out some breaking news that Alan used to be a United fan.
That fucking it. Yeah.
I thought a Liverpool fan.
I like that, lad.
He's about as knowledgeable as one.
I thought he was a fan of Radcliffe Butter.
Radcliffe, but I've been to watch Radcliffe Borough a few times.
I've been away. I haven't been to Radcliffe Borough themselves, but I've been away.
I want to get his quick
away at Old Droyley, away at Droylston, the ground behind the King's Head Tavern.
Well, while we're on the subject, it was nice.
No way.
It was nice to see Bury Football Club.
It's near Bury Brow, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Beehive across the road.
Yeah, quick one. It was nice to see Bury Football Club and Gig Lane open for business last week. Fantastic news that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got beat 6-0 on the opening.
I know, but I don't care. They're very. I've got my polo
players on their pitch at Gig Lane.
They're my second team.
If you would like to see that, go over to JSGC.
Watched it.
He does it with his brother Sid. Top lad.
Brilliant.
Jay is a friend of mine. Top lad. Go and give it. We need to get him back on here, but we do speak on the regular. Top lad.
Good
KD being the City fan base. But honestly, go and watch it. They played Bradford City. They did get spanked, sadly, but their capacity was limited to 2,500.
Welcome
sadly,
back.
They could have filled it twice over.
Yeah.
But they're back. And that's what matters. A local team is back. They finally got back into Gig Lane. It's been a long 4 years. Do you know what I did think?
Brilliant.
I didn't realize it had been 4 years. Thought it'd been like a year.
Yeah.
How weird's that?
It doesn't feel like 4.
Do you know what, Martin?
It doesn't feel like 4.
I was back home and I was staying at a mate's house that week when they went bust, and I went down and put the City scarf on the railings when the TV cameras were outside, and I was devastated for it because a lot of my mates in Bury are Bury fans, and I was devastated for them. It's important that you have a club in your community.
Thanks,
Super. He's absolutely. I'm really happy they're back in Gig Lane. Really happy.
Who's your local team, Shemaine, if you don't mind me asking? and doing the same league. You don't need somebody like just rough area, mate. You don't have to. I don't need your address and postcode. You're not Alan. Alan does that. His address is. Ozzy, while we're on,
the doxing Donny.
Because I want to grab your thoughts on this. The rumours tonight or today are that Gavardiol and Kovacic will be the only two.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
Bernardo. Been held the City media stuff today, but so the City reporters. Unless Bernardo leaves, of course.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that, mate?
I'm okay with it.
Did you see my my lips move then? Because I think Alan answered for me.
Actually, before you answer that, Ozzy, Alan has to go. You just told me. Alan, thank you, mate. Top lad.
All right, no problems. I've got work to do today, so get my head down. I'll speak to you very soon. Have a nice holiday, Martin.
All right, I haven't broke it to him yet. Calm down. They don't know.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you in a couple of weeks, mate. Take care.
All right.
See you, mate. All the best, mate.
See you later.
Go on, Oz, then. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen similar reports that City, that could be the two signings that we get through the summer. And yet we, you know, for the last few months, we've been reporting that City were going to go on a big spend and, you know, they were going to revamp the midfield and maybe even look at a wing position. And now, those are the two only signings that we could be getting in. It feels a bit of a kick in the stomach.
Anticlimax.
Yeah, you know, because I think we were expecting, you know, these signings to come in. You know, City maybe saying, you know, bring in 4 or 5 players, and now just the 2. It does feel a bit disappointing, but at the same time, I do feel that if City feel they haven't got that target they want, you know, they've missed out on 2. If they feel that at the moment there isn't that player they want that's available or whatever, then you kind of have to trust that the club are making that decision for the right reasons.
Well, they've earned that, haven't they? They have earned that.
They have earned that, and we've always said that, really, that City have earned that. You know, they haven't made a real bad signing. Okay, you could argue a couple, but most of the signings we brought through the door have worked out. I do feel that that some City fans may have to expect that we may not have the best season next season, because I just feel that if we're only bringing in 2 and we lose the likes of, well, we've already lost Gundo, we could lose Bernardo, and I'm hearing reports that Mahrez could go as well. That's some big players out the door, and the replacements coming in are good players, but is the rest of the squad hungry enough to go out there and start challenging for the league, the Champions
League? Reading my mind.
Well, you know, as we've said, you know, you look at Liverpool last season, and we've all said that, you know, they took the foot off the gas, you know, and they pushed the gas hard. They pushed us hard for that league title, and they were pushing for the quad. And, you know, look what happened. You know, their midfield just completely collapsed. The rest of the players around them collapsed, and, you know, they were you know, trying to get into the top 4 and didn't. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to us, but, you know, we might only get top 4. Would City fans think after winning the quadruple, the treble, would that be enough? Would that be a massive disappointment?
Spin it another way. And I know what you're going to say. I think it's quite an easy thing to say. Would, if we got a McAtee, because the way I'm thinking, if Mahrez leaves, I'm expecting Mahrez leaves, I'm expecting McAtee to fill that void. Bernardo obviously stays there. Would you be happy maybe 1 or 2 youngsters got a chance? Because you know my biggest worry is we were second in January last year, and you all remember the meltdown by a lot of fans. Say we had a Liverpool season and fell to 5th. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or am I just the only thing? Because listen, we might go on and get a 4P. We might go on and win it all again. I'm not saying we're not, but I'm just saying there's also the Liverpool way of you're burnt out, and these 2 fresh faces enough to push them on again, if that makes sense.
Well, you look at the likes of the players we talked about who were burnt out, the likes of KDB, the likes of Rodri. Do you know what I mean? And I think we were very lucky with injuries last season. You know, I think Haaland got the summer off because, you know, the winter off because of the World Cup. I think you have to take all these into consideration, and you think, well, it's going to be a normal season next season. So
I think more competitive as well, Oz.
I think it will be, because I think you are going to get the likes of Chelsea, because, okay, they're a bit of a mess, but they're bringing in a manager who, okay, you know, he didn't win anything at Spurs, but he still led them to a Champions League final, and you know they had a run on the league for a while. But with an endless pot of money that he'll get at Chelsea, and with what they're spending at the moment, they're going to be challenging. Liverpool, they've spent well from what we can see. It's set to be seen what happens with these players being integrated. United, you know, okay, they've only signed 1 player, but you'd expect them to sign a few more. Arsenal seems to be doing pretty good transfer business. So you've then got to think, what are we doing? What are we doing to really hold on to the league and go for the 4? What are we doing about trying to retain the title? And I'd say at the moment, it does feel like we're standing still a little bit. I'm not saying we're going backwards, but we are
standing still. And the way I feel, when you're standing still, you are going backwards in football. That's just me. Do you know what? I wasn't angry. I'm not bad about it, because if he stays, he stays. I was shell shocked they're going to give Walker a 2-year deal and bump his wages. I was like, where's that come from?
Well, you know, I mean, I was quite adamant, wasn't I, a couple of weeks ago, that I'd like to keep Walker, and you know, I was quite, you know, saying he is one of my all-time favourite players for City, you know, over the last few years, and I thought, you know, he should stay. And after thinking about it, I thought, actually, you know, is it time for him to move on, or at least is it time to wind down his games? I can see why City have done it though, because I think if we are going to lose some influential players like Mahrez, Bernardo, Gundo, you need those leaders in the back room, you know, and on the field. So, and he's still got the pace. He can still pull you out of a tricky situation. So I can understand it, but if you are not addressing at least the areas we've talked about, like midfield and potentially other wings, then, like you said, Martin, if you're standing still, you're going backwards.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It is. Because the one thing I won't ever do, I don't think anyone on air will ever do, is panic. And I think we're all long in the tooth now. If we don't do well, we don't do well and we finish 3rd. So be it. And you know what? That's okay. Because, like I said, we're not going to win the league every year. It'd be lovely to do a 4P. It'd be lovely. But see, it's weird because I've heard from the sublime to ridiculous. You've got me and most of you, like, if we do well, we do well. We don't. And then I've heard we're going to finish like 10th, which is ridiculous. Then I've also heard the other ridiculous side of we're going to get a 4P and do back-to-back on the Champions League. Oh, plus win the Super Cup, plus win the Club World Cup. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing here? You're playing FIFA and you've got into misery roll. It's like, do you know, part of it makes me think it's pre-season. Some fans are a bit bored. And they've got too much thinking time on their hands. And they're seeing what everybody else is doing. Arsenal 250 mil. Pat, mute yourself. Because I tell you what, that cleaner's been in that room for a very long time, mate. What if you got a mansion? Oh dear. Sorry, Ozzy, Pat's company at the moment.
I can hear, mate. I can hear.
Oh, she was on camera. She was on camera an hour and a half ago, mate. He didn't tell us.
Is that why he was getting the sack?
Oh,
was it starting to become a bit of an inappropriate stream?
No, he told us all it was the cleaner. Said he must have a mansion. She's been cleaning for nearly 2 hours. I don't know what the bloody hell she's doing.
Oh dear.
Tell you what, I need to get over to Peru more often.
There's good food over here, I'll give you that.
Just ask if she got a sister. No,
good night, everybody.
No, anyway, yeah, I think we are going to wrap that there because I've just realised we've done 2 hours, 10 minutes. One thing I want to do is thank every single person who's come on tonight. I will be honest, we were a bit nervous about this. Not that we didn't trust any of you, but it was like, we're opening it up to people and you always think, you know, a troll's going to come in or whatever. But I've got to say, it's been one of the most enjoyable shows we've done in a long time. And I'm going to have a chat with the lads, but this is something we may do once a month. Just as a thank you to you lot of opening it up once a month, even when the season's up. Because we spoke, DC's been on, Damesh has been on, Lorenzo was on earlier on. We've had Muddy Duck tried to come on. We've had a few Abdallahs come on. It's been great. It really has been enjoyable. So, do you know what? Because we've not had to wait it on for 2 hours. It's your channel. And we've had some new members tonight, Lucille Blue, and thank you for coming channel members. That's amazing. Like I said, everything does go back into this channel, your channel. We are now going to take a bit of a break. That was scheduled 2.5 weeks ago. We're now going to have that break. We will now shut down until the Community Shield, when we will be back for the build-up to the Community Shield. So there may be a show that Thursday about the Community Shield. We'll talk more about it. First week in August. I'm going to Turkey for 2.5 weeks, or 2 weeks. One thing I will say, if anything does break in between, we will come back. Because I'm not just going to ignore. We're not going to sit and ignore. Say City tomorrow went and bought Valverde and Bernardo goes. Yes, we'll come back. But only if something happens. And not for rumours, not for anything else. If I'm in Turkey, we'll still do something. And go live on my phone and let the lads go. But if it's only properly going to be done, we'll come back. The next time you proper see us, there'll be a new intro, get some new graphics, and we'll get rolling for another long season. But Ozzy, Pat, Rich, Alan, Beta, and everyone has contributed to this season. Has been amazing. And the one thing we haven't done, I've done it on the thing, but I haven't done it on this, is big thank you to everyone for getting us to, or getting you to over 2,000 subscribers. We can't thank you enough. 2 days ago, we were on 1,960 summit. We're nearly at 2,050. Got up nearly 100 subscribers in a day. So thank you. It really, really does help.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Big thanks to Big Steve getting you on the show too, because that probably helped as well.
I'm not. All right, okay. No, I'm joking. Big Steve did help as well. Me and Big Steve did a chat the other Monday.
No, it was a really good show. Just go and watch it if you haven't.
The City Extra Awards are tomorrow night. We have been nominated for Best Channel.
Have we?
You can tell someone don't read the Twitter, don't it? Anyway, just to let you know, it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek, lads. Let's not have a meltdown. They did this last year, and the Best City YouTube channel was City Extra. I don't know if it's going to be different this year, but if you have voted for us, thank you. But anyway, am I going to the Community Shield? Yes, I am. I got my tickets yesterday. But I'm not going to the Super Cup because I can't. But anyway, big thank you. There's loads of comments. If you can smash the like on your way out, that'd be amazing. Thank you to the mess, Sean, everyone. Big Steve's amazing, Damesh. He really is top guy. All City content, and you can find all the links to all the City content creators in the description below. Every channel is in there. You'll still be itching in Turkey. Yeah. Trust me, my missus already said that. Yes, I am. What about if Gavardio gets announced tomorrow or next week? We will be live. Tomorrow, honestly, we will do something. But only if announced. Going Community Shield, yes, I am. Thank you, Alec Johnson. Pretty good it was really good for a calling show. The young forget that ain't happening. No, it ain't happening. Hey, stud, behave. Is she cleaning Pat's broomstick? Anyway, we need to end it. This is going to end very badly.
And on that note,
they say the first 1,000 or 2 is the hardest. Has to do. Sorry, go on, Oz.
I said good night.
Yeah. From Back to the Future. Good night. Thank you to Pat, Ozzy, Alan, Andy, Carl, who was on earlier. All the links are down below. Thank you all to the callers. You're all superstars. We will see you, if not before, next season. Take care. And,
good night.
Bye.